Hello and welcome to From Diapers to DIY. This is my 9-month-old Abby. Today I'm going to show you what I feed her in a day, tips and tricks for how I feed her. I went through this stage where she went from purees to more solids, and we're still kind of in this in-between phase. She only has 2 little teeth on the bottom, so I couldn't find a lot of information about this online, and I asked my friends and they were just like, don't worry about it, feed her whatever you're gonna eat. And I was like, well, no, I want her to have a perfectly healthy and balanced diet. And then I realized that perfectly healthy and balanced is kind of a very hard thing to do, so I just do my best. I have figured out how to make things a bit easier as far as cooking for Abby and cooking for my husband and I at the same time. I tend to just avoid salt or sugar while I'm cooking for her. I don't cook with sugar for myself anyway. But to start the day, I'm gonna do a little pancake for her and my husband and I with these protein oats, some bananas, eggs, water, cinnamon and pumpkin pie spices, and a measuring cup. I whip out some pans and get those heated. Then I'm gonna put a timer on just to remind myself that the pans are nice and hot. It takes my stove 3 minutes to get nice and hot. While the pans heat up, I'm gonna go ahead and put all the ingredients into the blender. I need half a cup of water for this, 2 eggs, 2 bananas, 1.5 cups of oatmeal. I like the protein oatmeal because it's just a little bit more nutritious than the regular ones. Also, this one has absolutely no sugar. A little pinch of cinnamon and a pinch of pumpkin spice as well. Let it blend until smooth. Now that my cast irons are heated up, I'm gonna go ahead and spray some avocado oil onto my cast irons so that my batter doesn't stick. I don't like to use non-stick anymore. I only use cast irons for everything. I've just had really bad experiences with non-sticks, and the cast irons add an added benefit of iron, which I really like. Plus, they last forever, and my husband jokes that they could also be used as a weapon. So for the pancakes, I just spoon out little pancakes into the hot pan. The little pancakes are going to be for my daughter Abby. And I don't really worry too much about getting it perfect. They're pancakes. They don't have to be the most gorgeous things on the planet. I'm going to let the pancakes cook until I see them bubbling. Once I see them bubbling, I'm going to flip them over. On my stove with the cast irons, it's a pretty fast process, so just keep an eye out. Once I flip them over, I cook them for about another minute until I see that they're not sticking to the pan and the batter looks like it's well cooked through. Then I'll just set them aside on a plate for Abby. In between each batch, I like to spray the pan just to make sure that nothing sticks to it. Next, I'm gonna pour some batter for the adults. I just pour it straight from the blender. And I usually get a pretty good shape from just pouring it in like so. The pancake will naturally kind of even itself out and look pretty good. So it's the same process for the adult pancakes. I just watch for some bubbling, and once I see that it's not sticking to the pan and it's bubbling, I flip it over and I cook for another couple of minutes. Then I repeat the process with more pancakes for the adults and more pancakes for my baby. I cook way more pancakes than Abby needs for breakfast because I like to serve this to her multiple days at a time. I tend to be really busy, especially in the morning, so I find cooking in larger batches for Abby really helps cut down on time. Not only time, but also cleanup, and Abby just loves these pancakes. And I feel good about giving them to her because they're loaded with nutrients, they're high protein, they have fruits in them. So whatever Abby doesn't eat, I'll just stick in the fridge for later, and these pancakes are usually good for a couple of days. I tend to not give Abby anything that's been sitting in the fridge for longer than 2 days. So to serve Abby, I actually have this plate that sticks onto stuff. It helps prevent her from throwing the plate along with the food onto the floor. She does still take the plate and try to throw it, but it at least slows her down and gives me enough time to stop her. So I top her pancakes up with a little bit of organic whole milk yogurt, and then I squish some berries on top of that because Abby just loves berries and it's a bit more antioxidants for her. So why not have the added bonus of sweetness and nutrients? Sometimes I also sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on top of all that just for presentation, but I don't always do that and it's definitely not necessary. For breakfast, I give Abby this a lot. She does not like eggs, but I've actually figured a way to get her to eat eggs is to put some Greek yogurt or regular yogurt into the eggs to kind of mix it together. So like if I'm doing a scrambled, I'll use yogurt and scramble that in, and she'll eat it like that. She also doesn't mind hard-boiled eggs. I've learned with Abby that there's some tricks to get her to eat food. If she doesn't like something for breakfast, I'll either add some yogurt or applesauce to it to get her to eat it, and that pretty much always does the trick. She doesn't need any yogurt to eat the pancakes because she just loves them as is. But sometimes I want to give her a little extra protein and calcium. Sometimes I just want to do it just for presentation. It really just depends on my mood, how I'm feeling. Every baby is different, but if you're having trouble getting your kid to eat breakfast, maybe try mixing it up with some applesauce if it's something a little bit more like oatmeal, or mixing eggs up with something like yogurt or even cheese. I've tried ricotta with Abby and she didn't really like the eggs with ricotta, but she did like it with yogurt. Even though we just had breakfast, I'm gonna prepare dinner because I'm gonna do a slow cooker dinner. So basically right after breakfast, I throw all the stuff into the slow cooker so it's ready for us in the evening and I don't have to worry about it, and it's also a very quick and easy cleanup. I love slow cooker meals because I know that the food's going to be soft enough for the baby but also delicious enough for the adults to eat and appreciate. So here I have lamb. I put it right into the slow cooker. Next I'm going to get some herbs from my little herb garden here. Then I'm going to put some garlic all over the lamb. Abby really likes garlic and so do I. And then I'm going to put some water in there, about yay high. Next I'm going to be using these Brussels sprouts and butternut squash onion package I found at Kroger, which has no added salt, and put it right into the crock pot. Set it for low and forget about it. Now it's lunchtime. I'm just going to give her a deconstructed pizza, which is going to be ricotta, some tomato sauce, and bread. All these products do have salt in it, so I'm very careful and mindful of how much I give to her. I try not to give more than like a couple of spoonfuls of something that I know has salt in it, because you have to be careful with babies and salt. This is because their kidneys are still developing. However, they can have 1 gram of salt per day. This is well within that limitation, but for ease of mine, I just am mindful of it and I just try not to overdo it with anything that I know already has some salt in it. So I basically just put in pizza sauce, cheese, bread, serve it up, and let Abby devour it. It's a very quick, easy, and simple meal. Another trick I learned with Abby is for items that are more on the lunch side of things, tomato sauce will get her to eat pretty much everything. So a good trick for you moms out there that are having trouble getting your baby to eat stuff, try different sauces. That's a big takeaway that I've learned over these couple of months. If not tomato sauce, maybe it's yogurt, maybe it's applesauce. Experiment and see what your baby likes. Sometimes my baby likes ricotta, sometimes she doesn't. And as you can see here, Abby's trying to throw the plate, but the suction cup plate does slow her down. It doesn't work fully because she will throw it if you're not looking. Next up, we're gonna have dinner. So the lamb and the veggies have been roasting all day. I scoop out her food way before it's time to actually eat because it needs time to cool down. The lamb from the slow cooker is so soft, you could literally just spoon it into little pieces, which is perfect for the stage that Abby's in. Like I said, she just got over purees and I was very confused as to what to feed her after purees. She used to only basically eat those pouches that were pre-made. And then when I had to start cooking for her, I was totally at a loss. I just added a little bit of yogurt to the crock pot meal so that if Abby doesn't want to eat, let's say the lamb, I can mix that together and give it to her. Abby doesn't like meat that much, but I feel like it's important for her to eat because she is growing and protein helps you grow. So I tried to get her to eat meat at least for dinner. When Abby was first going through this stage, I was pretty freaked out because babies will gag on things, and apparently that's totally normal and natural, and that's how they learn how to eat. I had to get over my fear of her choking. Luckily, she's never actually choked, but she's gagged quite a bit, and sometimes she still does gag and kind of spit things out. It's important to remember, since you're not cooking with salt because of the baby, to put plenty of salt in after you're done cooking. My husband and I usually like to spice it up with maybe some truffle salt or different kind of seasonings that Abby can't have yet, but it really tastes just as good to put the salt in after the fact. This meal is a pretty good example of Abby liking everything except for the meat. So ultimately, I ended up having to mix the lamb with the yogurt to get Abby to eat it, and then she ate it pretty easily. Thanks for watching our channel. Please like and subscribe if you found this useful. I try to post DIY content and content relating to my growing family. So hopefully this helps you figure out and navigate this very crucial time of what to feed your baby and how to feed yourself and your baby at the same time.